And Mookie walks into my room and she goes, I want to sleep here. And I'm like, oh.
Here's the show. It's very simple. It's just a bunch of funny people, and we're all telling true stories. You guys might know him from his podcast, Occasionally Awesome, that he does with Nick Youssef. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Kevin Christy, everybody. Let him hear it.
So I'm a dude, and I like sex like dudes do. But it's one time in my life I had to turn down sex. One time. Because like you look like me. That's not a thing we should do. Ever. We shouldn't. Look, it's hard for us to get it. So when they offer it, we're like, yeah, it happened. So, you understand. We live the same existence. So one time I got a job. I got an acting job. Okay, I say it was a job. It was a favor. A friend of mine asked me to do a favor. He said, will you be in this thing? And I said yes, because he is black, and I do whatever black people tell me to 100% of the time. Because I feel guilty about slavery like I fucking should. So, I said yes to doing this. Now, when you work as an actor, sometimes you go out of town, they put you in a hotel. It's awesome. You don't live there, you didn't pay for it, so you just rub your ass all over everything. You get naked as soon as you walk in and rub your butt on everything they made. You just ruin a Radisson. It's great. So, I'm on my way to the airport, and I text him. I go, hey, what's the name of the hotel we're staying at? And I get a text back. Goes, no, player, you're staying in a condo with the other actors. Bring your own sheets. Bring your own sheets is never a good thing to hear in any circumstance. So I'm like, I'm already going. I'm like, oh, God. So I get there, and I'm staying in a condo with 4 other people, all of which are way younger than me and are all drug addicts who are just gonna bone the living shit out of each other. It was like the real world, but then someone brought their dad. So they're all in their 20s, I'm angrily in my 30s, and every night they all get completely shit hammered and bone the crap out of each other. It was like a rugby scrum all the time. It was crazy. And where we were in a place called Ocean City, Maryland, which is off. You're the first one to woo for it. Okay, to be fair, it's like a summer place where there's a boardwalk, but this was the winter, okay? So it was like a fun beach town with carnival games, but in the dead of winter. So there'd be just a weird guy trying to sell flip-flops, even though it was 40 degrees outside. It's like, hey, do you want these flip-flops? We're like, no, why? It's like selling a snow shovel here in Los Angeles. Like, why are you doing this here? This doesn't make any fucking sense. So it sucked, and we're there. I'm there the whole time with these people, and every night they would bone, like I said. Now, I had a side job as an illustrator at the time. I had to do some artwork while I was there, but I couldn't paint in my bedroom. I had to paint in the kitchen, because that's where the table was. So every night, I would be there painting, and there'd be 2 20-year-olds fingering each other next to me, and I'd be just quietly painting a tree for a men's catalog. You guys look like you're having fun. I'm just working on this branch over here. Get off her! It was a lot. And then there was a girl in the thing, right? I don't remember her real name, but everyone called her Mookie for some reason. She was the hottest Latin woman I've ever seen in my whole fucking life. And if you know anything about Latin women, they're better. That's just how the world works. And the thing is, when they're hot, they're nice about it. Whereas white hot women are just dicks. They think they're so great. Whereas Latin women are hot, you're like, you're hot. They're like, really? Serious? It's like they don't know. It's fantastic. Whereas when you tell a white woman she's hot, she's like, really? I know. You're like, oh, this is awful. So Mookie was the hottest, and she was just all the best, just the greatest things about Latin women were everything. All she talked about was how she loved dancing. So everything was thing about me is I'm just dancing, ba 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 ba, living life. That was her answer to everything. You're just hey, what do you think about the Middle East? Dancing, ba ba ba, living life. You're like, this is awesome. You're awesome. Now, every night she would get wasted and try to hook up with somebody. Boys, girls, didn't matter. She was going to get it. That's how much she loved. You understand? And it was so nice of her because she was so hot. She was like, everyone should experience this, regardless of sex. And so every night she would hook up with somebody. And now I wasn't engaging in this because I was at the time engaged, okay? And so one night I'm in my room quietly reading a book like a sad white person. And all of a sudden I hear footsteps just coming down the hall, and then I hear my door quietly open, and it's Mookie. And Mookie walks into my room, and she goes, "I want to sleep here." Okay. And at that moment, an instant boner, like just like a rocket launch. My dick was like, seriously? Like it just got so excited. And she's like, I want to sleep here. And I'm like, oh. Just started laughing, and then it turned into tears. And I'm like, oh, Mookie, you can't sleep here. You can't sleep here. You can't. And she's like, no, I want to sleep here. And she's like, I'm like, can't. She goes, why? I go, because Mookie, I'm engaged. That's basically like being married. And out of nowhere, she goes, I'm married to Christos 10 years. I don't love him. And I'm like, that's a lot of info for me to... who marries a guy named Christos, first of all? It's a weird-ass name. Did he have a yacht? If he doesn't, that's lame, because if your name is Christos, you should have a fucking yacht. And so then I'm like, no, I'm sorry about you and Christos. That's a bummer, but you still can't sleep here. And then she goes, I want to be warm with you. Which, think about how good that sounds. Like, it's so vague. Like, and even my dick was like, I want to be warm with you too. And even my heart was like, I would like to be warm with her. Kevin, can we get this done? And I'm like, I'm sorry, you can't be warm with me. I'm sorry, you can't. And then she gets mad. She goes, you make me lonely. Like that. And I go, I'm sorry, I make you lonely, but you still can't. And she goes, you're so smart. And I go, yeah, it's ruined everything. It's ruined my whole life. I wish I was less. We'd be boning right now. And I'm like, still, you can. And then she goes to get on the bed. And so I have to get off the bed immediately because that's some real relationship shit where you're like, nothing happened. She's like, were you on the bed at the same time? And you're like, yeah. She's like, well, then we're over. It's some real white lady crap. And so she gets on the bed. I get off the bed. And then she keeps going, I want to be warm with you. And then she puts her perfect caramel-colored butt in the air, and I look at it, and it's everything. And so she starts kind of crawling towards me like a 80s metal video. And I'm like, this is the best. I'm in Whitesnake. And she's crawling towards me, and at that point, I go, Mookie, no! Like she was a dog. And it felt real racist. I'll be honest with you, it didn't feel good to do or say. And the sad thing was it worked perfectly. She just had, and so she gets up and she's like, fine, like that. But then she takes her underpants off and shows it to me. She's like, look at it. Basically, she stood there like, with it out, And it was like looking at the sun, but it didn't hurt. You know what I mean? It's like you could finally just stare at the sun for a long time. And you're like, look, the center of everything, the reason there's anything. And then again, I have to go, Mookie, no, get out of here. And she leaves, I hear her go back upstairs. And so what I do as a guilty person, I call my fiance. Even though nothing happened, I call her because I'm like, I gotta tell her what happened, so I don't get in trouble. So I call her. I start telling her she's having a girls' night at our house. So she puts me on speakerphone, makes me tell the whole story, and then her friends just laugh at me. And they're like, you're such a pussy. Anyone else in the world would have nailed this perfect. Because they looked her up. I'm like, this is what she looks like. They looked her up. They're like, anyone else would have nailed her. You should have nailed her. This is the hottest woman you've ever... This is the hottest woman to ever offer me sex in my entire life and the rest of my life. Whoever... I'm single now. I'm sorry to whoever I marry. You lost already. She was the best. They laugh at me. And it felt like having a winning lottery ticket and then just burning it. And you're like, no, I don't need that $20 million on that lottery ticket because I got $11 in checking at home. And I'm good with that. You can take your $20 million. I'm burning it. I don't need it. I don't care. I got $11 in checking at home. And I'm not saying my fiance was worth $11, but we're divorced now, so it actually cost me thousands. And the moral of the story is this: what should I have done?
Slept with her.
Fuck the show.
Exactly, sir. There should have been no sleeping, ma'am. Thank you so much. My name is Kevin Christy.